Hi, this is John Hodoway from Nighthawk Custom Training Academy. I wanted to take today and speak to you about a product that I had an opportunity to review. Really excited about this. First of all, let me tell you a little history about how I got this gun. I met Joe Chetwood of Crusader Weaponry in Salt Lake City a couple of years ago when I was out there doing a Mag 40 class with the gun dudes. And, you know, what in the world he was doing around those guys, well, I don't know, but what was I doing there for that matter? Okay. And as we kind of stayed in touch, I'd watched some of the things that he had built, and I was just really thoroughly impressed with the things I was hearing. And I'm a big fan of the AR platform in 223, and I've been mulling over some 308 platforms and wanted to really wring one out and give it a try. And had heard nothing but great things out of Joe's guns, so I asked him if he had one that I could demo, and he was gracious enough to send me this one. And I just want to start off and kind of preface what I'm about to say this way. I've seen a lot of guns that you build the gun out of the best possible parts, and yet still that gun doesn't realize its true potential. Well, I can tell you that Joe has taken what I consider to be just premium parts, and he's built a gun that's exceeded the parts that were in it. Now, to start off with, Joe sent me this gun, and he was fine enough to send me this gun with this L-can 1-power, 4-power scope. This, I'm told, is the same model of scope that was used by the Navy SEALs when they went after bin Laden. And I don't know if that's true or not, but that's a great rumor, and I like to think about it. First of all, thoroughly impressed with this scope. The way it works is it has two different lenses in it, and it kind of shifts one over and one out. And so what you find is it's like going to the optometrist and they say, which is better, number 1 or number 2? Number 2 or number 3? You know how they kind of flash in front of one another? So there's no throw lever. It's just simply a switch between 1 and 4. Second thing that I liked about this scope, you turn the knob to illuminate the center dot when you have it on 1 power, so it runs like a normal red dot, parallax free, or you turn it the other way and it illuminates the crosshairs and the bullet drop compensator that's inside there on 4 power. And what's really cool is that gives you the advantage of both scopes. Now, I'm not completely sold on this scope. It's kind of big, it's kind of heavy, but on this gun, it works really well. Now, the next thing, Joe builds his guns out from a platform that SI Defense out of Montana does. And you know, he puts his guns together. I gotta say, beautiful gun, beautiful finish, mag pull furniture on it. You know, he's got flip-up sights on the front and rear on the gun. These are diamond heads. I didn't really get a chance to use them. He's got enough Picatinny rail on the top that you can mount about anything. He was pretty sensible on what he put on the bottom of the gun. He's got one here for a forward handle, a couple here. I don't know if you could mount your tactical margarita maker on this thing along with your 4 spotlights, but I think most anything I'd want to drape off the gun, there's plenty of room for. Now, Joe is a big believer in a free float barrel. And I'm going to tell you that my friend Jeff Cater and I took this gun out to ring it out on the first day. And when we did, we'd kind of forgotten everything that was important. And all I had was some cheap military 308 ammunition. Well, at 100 yards, this stuff from, you know, Slovakia, somewhere in the commie block, I'm sure, this, and it was green, really rang out a 1-inch group at 100 yards. I was thoroughly impressed. And the next thing is, the gun just kept eating it. It didn't choke at all, and I think that's because of his slipstream technology that he's baked into this gun. As most of you know, I've sold guns so I don't have to clean them, and Joe pre-treated this gun, and I got to say, this thing ate everything with 0 malfunctions. Trigger was great on this thing, and we didn't strap this thing down in a vise. We were actually shooting it off a table. From it, we had a chair, table, and then we just put a bag on the table and shot it off that. So the next time that we came out, we had some Hornady ammunition, and we wanted to give it a try with that. Jeff and I both ran it with the Hornady ammunition, and I got to tell you, at 100 yards, you could put the rounds in there, 3-shot group that was touching. So I was thoroughly impressed with this rifle. No malfunctions, everything seemed to run great. Ran these PMags just fine. No issues with 20-round PMag. We've run the gun, I think, run it out every way possible, and I've just got to say, this is a beautiful piece of kit right here. Joe has built the gun that, honestly, folks, when you get this thing, there's nothing left to do, there's nothing left to put on it. You know, it's the best of everything. Now, The other thing I was thoroughly impressed with is flash suppressor that's on the gun. We shot tons and tons of video. You never, ever, ever see any blast coming off the gun, no debris stirred up, and we don't see any flash with it. We shot all kinds of ammunition, never saw any flash out of it. We actually got to the point we tried to make this gun choke. It just wouldn't choke. And this thing's built like a tank. Now, that's the only criticism that I have of this gun is it's heavy. And toting it around all day, Jeff and I both kind of thought, gee, this thing is kind of heavy, but you got a 308 platform. The way I look at it is, all things being equal, every time we sent a 308 downrange, it was like sending 3 223 cartridges. Something to think about there. 3 times the bullet mass going downrange into your intended target. I can wholeheartedly recommend this and say this is one of the finest rifles that I have ever shot. I'd recommend this purchase to anybody. It's not going to be a cheap ride, and especially with what's going on right now, but you should really consider one of these. Joe's built a fine piece of kit here again, and I've got to say, if I can find a way to sneak this past my wife, I think I might own this gun. John Hodoway for Nighthawk Custom Training Academy, out.